Yo, what's up everyone? It's been a little bit. You know, life can get a bit crazy and all that, so I decided to take a little bit of a break, sort some stuff out, and now it's back to making some delicious content. So just to warm myself back up, I decided to talk about something near and dear to my heart, something that's really funny but also very nostalgic. If you were a Dragon Ball fan before 2013, you had to endure the content drought. I got a little late into the game. I got into Dragon Ball about, I think, maybe 2010. I was a Dragon Ball Z Kai Nicktoons era Dragon Ball fan, so I did not have to suffer the long wait between GT and Battle of Gods like many growing up in the 2000s had to. But even in those 3 years of being a Dragon Ball fan, it gave me this feeling that Dragon Ball was done. It wasn't coming back. And if it did, it'd be like a special, nothing really major continuing the story. This means stuff like fan theories and fan fictions were created with an expectation Dragon Ball wasn't coming back. So everything was pretty much fan fiction because you can't really make theories for a story that's done and expect that to like come back into the story in some way. But that all changed with Battle of Gods, a movie actually important to the main story of Dragon Ball. Meaning whatever funny ideas you came up with, you could then sit there and wonder, oh, is this gonna happen? And if it didn't, you could theorize, could this happen in the future? Now there was something actually tangible you could latch your ideas to. Now with the floodgates open, and then Resurrection F and Super, it only added more fuel to the flames. People were throwing around theories left and right. Some came true, some didn't. To talk about every theory that Dragon Ball fans have come up with, it would be a never-ending video. I wouldn't even know where to start. So instead of like scouring the internet for any little theory I can find, because you know, anyone can just make a theory up and call it a day, I wanted to go over some I found personally interesting, memorable to me and my experience as a Dragon Ball fan, or just generally funny. So join me as I ramble on about just a bit of my favorite Dragon Ball Renaissance era theories and myths. I want to start with this one because I don't know another time I'll ever have a reason to bring this up again. Do any of you out there remember Dragon Ball Hoshi? Cause I don't know if it was me personally just being very ignorant, but I had no idea Dragon Ball Heroes existed. These videos would be back in like 2011 or 2012 and they'd be like, Dragon Ball Hoshi, brand new series, HD, 1080p, remastered. And so they'd use Dragon Ball Heroes trailers and like the Ultimate Tenkaichi opening to try and push this narrative that there was a new Dragon Ball series happening in Japan. And I was taking the bait, baby, because it was pristine looking animation. I was like, this can't be fake. I'm seeing OCs running around, I'm like, new characters, new Z fighters maybe. But then when they started using the Heroes trailers and it showed like Goku fighting Frieza on Namek and Cell fighting Goku in the Cell games and Broly, I was like, what's going on? What's the story? Are the characters time traveling and going back to old events? What is happening? And just conveniently, these trailers would start after the point in which Beat would be in the arcade and insert his hero card. So the uploaders were trying to hide the fact that this was a card game universe that they were jumping into. And they'd always conveniently cut it off right before you see the title card because, you know, they're trying to pawn off this Dragon Ball Hoshi business to you. And then if you saw the title card, it's gonna say in English Heroes. What did they have to gain from all this? Just for the love of the game? For just some YouTube views? The reason this really peeved me off as a kid is because it gave me nothing to work with. Once I realized these were trailers for a card game, I was like, then what does Hoshi have to give me other than just stealing these trailers? For comparison, I believe Dragon Ball AF was real at first. Since I didn't read much of the manga when I first became a Dragon Ball fan, I wasn't too used to Toriyama's style. And so when I saw the Dragon Ball AF manga by Toyable, aka Toyotaro, I thought it was Toriyama. When I learned it was fake though, I still had these fan manga. I still had Yunjiji's AF, I had Toyable's AF, I had Super Saiyan 5 art. There was something I could cling on to even when I knew it was fake. Hoshi gave me nothing. I don't know what the purpose of this was. It made 15-year-old me really sore and angry. But then when the 2013 Dragon Ball movie got announced, I was like, thank you. No more of this Hoshi nonsense, no more fake manga trying to trick me. Dragon Ball's really back, baby. And with its return, the fandom went into overdrive. Do you remember back in the day, Golden Super Saiyan 4 Goku versus Beerus? All of this fan art came about because of statements of early Super Saiyan God designs being a combination of Super Saiyan 3 and 4. But unlike, my artistic interpretation of the design, they just decided to make Super Saiyan 4 gold. It doesn't even have the heroic cape Yamamuro apparently put on it. This design philosophy would stay within the fandom for years, like making Super Saiyan 4 blue, Super Saiyan 4 Ultra Instinct. It spoke to the idea that Super Saiyan 4 coming back would be interesting with Dragon Ball's modern design philosophy. And I mean, hey, Super Saiyan 4 from Daima is basically Super Saiyan God 4. Okay, this is a quick one. I just find it so fascinating how people called this. If Goku Super Saiyan God is red, Vegeta should get Super Saiyan God, but he has blue hair. I saw some fan art floating around like that, and I was like, I don't know, I don't think they do that. Just for Resurrection F to show up, and then both Vegeta and Goku get blue hair, and it's like, oh, okay. Just another example of one lucky call, which wouldn't be the first or last time. This was Resurrection F's first poster, and by that I mean like a teaser poster. We didn't even know the title of the movie yet, just that it was a Dragon Ball 2014 project. But the text talks about an evil wish shall be made. And the only visual you have to go off of is Goku having a funny little mischievous grin. So this led people into believing Goku's gonna make an evil wish? And it's any guess as to what the justification could have been. What, was Goku gonna wish someone back to life like Frieza or Cell because he really wants a good fight? Did he turn evil? It's just a funny example of jumping the gun with little information to work off of. I don't even remember this one when it was airing, but I see people talking about this over the internet, so I'm guessing this was a theory going around. Apparently people thought Broly was hiding inside of Vegeta's body somehow. I don't get how that could, be possible unless Broly really squished his limbs down since the last time we saw him. I can't even begin to understand the reasoning on this one. I guess people just wanted justification on why Vegeta was so strong. But at the end of the day, it was really just people's desire to see Broly come back to Dragon Ball, being able to insert him in any way they can.
Like that's ever gonna happen.
I'm sure a lot of you thought about this one when clicking on the video. This was back when, the mystery of who Goku Black could be was at an all-time high. I think people wanted to have Goku Black and Trunks have a more personal connection, but Trunks would have no idea who Goten is. And if it's really Goten, where has he been this whole time? Was he kidnapped and turned evil, and now he's being unleashed upon his own home planet? You think Gohan would have brought up his little brother at some point as well. It's clear Goku just died in this timeline before he could ever father Goten. Still though, I really enjoyed this theory because there's just a goofy element that this is supposed to be Goten. A Goku Black theory I actually believed in, though. I thought Black was a zombie future Goku who died from the heart virus, and then maybe some outside force corrupted him and turned him evil. The reason I believe this is after Goku Black's confrontation with Goku in the past, he clutches his chest after the battle. Now, my theory brain was firing off on all cylinders because the future Goku died to this heart virus. But the real reason he was holding his chest is because Goku just socked him in there, a big fat drop kick to the rib cage. But part of me held out hope all the way until the reveal that this could actually have been evil Goku. In hindsight, I'm glad I was wrong, but I did have a little bit of disappointment at the time. While I get the energy behind this theory, it's not like it really means anything or goes anywhere. It's just that, you know, Kaba is like Vegeta, has his Gallic gun and all that. Caulifla has a similar enthusiastic, rambunctious energy to Goku, even if she's a little more punkish. And Kale was obviously Broly, but there was no Broly in Super at the time. So therefore, she has to be the Z Broly equivalent. But since Z Broly isn't part of the story, some people just went, you know, she's a Broly reference, but she's actually, because of her rage moments, the Gohan of the group. It's all just silly stuff, and it really didn't matter in the grand scheme, but I thought it'd be funny to bring it up. One popular theory at the time of the Tournament of Power was that the Grand Priest and angels by extension were evil. Toei would play into this too, making the Grand Priest appear very menacing in certain scenes. They had the Universe 9 angel Moihito laughing and smiling at the erasure of his entire universe. It was a very strange moment that never gets addressed after, so it felt like it was playing into that idea. At the end of the day, it didn't really go anywhere, and the Angels and Grand Priest overall just seemed like neutral parties. But it did lead to some of the funniest fan stories during that time, like Gohan Blanco versus El Grande Padre, where it turns out Gohan's real father the entire time was the Grand Priest, and now he must put down his evil father's machinations. The fandom at that time was not a real place, dude. And now, for one of the most popular Dragon Ball fan theories, Hit's clone is still in the tournament to this day. This was basically pure cope and desperation to have Hit still be in the tournament. How he could even get a clone eliminated and not himself is just a funny concept. And so he's just sitting around hiding, biding his time to take out Jiren once and for all. And while the support for this theory fell off, there were still some people who, even after Universe 6 was erased, still held out hope somehow. But that's my GOAT Hit, right? He could survive his entire universe being erased. In the second opening to Dragon Ball Super, we get this scene where Goku goes Kaioken and is enveloped in a giant red aura. His hair stands up straight and he gets this mischievous little smile on his face. This felt like the hint to a new form. Then, before episodes 109 and 110 came out, we get this poster of Goku where he's got his back turned to us like he just performed the Raging Demon. This felt like they were teasing a new form to us, but Goku's hair was still black, so maybe he was in the middle of transforming into the new form. But then we got a second poster where we get to see what he looks like from the front, and judging by his exact hair shape and eyes, we could tell this must be the form. The aura was also a crazy blue and red, which will definitely reflect in the form, I'm sure. The fandom coined the term Limit Breaker for the form, and it stuck all the way until Ultra Instinct's reveal. Similar to how Vegeta's new form in this arc would also be given the name Royal Blue Vegeta. But before Vegeta's new form was revealed, it was assumed he'd get a different kind of power-up. When Goku fought Kefla, the characters made it very clear that Goku couldn't use the full power of Ultra Instinct while attacking. This led to the idea that potentially the opposite could be mastered separately, where someone could, you know, learn the offensive half of Ultra Instinct. Since Vegeta needed something to catch up to Goku again, this was his cue. I mean, they both trained under Whis, so it would make sense that Vegeta would get Ultra Instinct at some point, right? However, this theory solely relies on the idea that Ultra Instinct comes in two distinct halves, and assuming that you don't have to learn the defensive part first, which, you know, is the entire point of the technique, being able to react without thinking. Eventually, people let go of this theory, and Vegeta would find his own way to match Goku in strength. When Toriyama was talking about Yamoshi in interviews, this was all before the 2018 Dragon Ball Super movie. So when people saw Saiyan armor on Goku's opponent in the trailers for the movie, they assumed that's gotta be Yamoshi. And funny enough, it would have been way more believable that Yamoshi was gonna be a thing, and not that, oh, I don't know, Broly's coming back. It's been 7 years and it's still unbelievable to me. While Dragon Ball's future is up in the air, it still has so many plot threads left to touch upon that people are still creating theories today, like the eventual rematch with Beerus, or Black Frieza being the final villain. While it seems like we might be in a bit of a content drought right now, the fact that we're still able to have theories with Dragon Ball tells me we are not back in the 2000s anymore. There are still stories to talk about, mysteries to uncover, and that's one of the beautiful things about modern Dragon Ball. I'm considering, since it's fresh in my mind, doing a Dragon Ball Daima theory video in the future. Cause seeing the theories people came up with for that while it was airing and watching everything happen in real time was such a treat, I feel like it needs documented. That'll be something to look forward to in the future. So I want you guys to have yourselves a good day, and I'll see you later.